spooky season is here. So of course I had to do a little something to get in the mood. We all know that the new Life and Death expansion pack is releasing on Halloween. But what are we supposed to do leading up to Halloween? Like, come on now, The Sims 4 gets real boring real quick, and not everyone can spice up the game with mods and custom content. So it's time to make the most of the DLC that you spent way too much money on, starting with The Sims 4 Vampires pack. Welcome NPCs, it's your girl Live of an NPC, and I'm here to give you 4 blood pumping storylines that'll revive your game whilst you wait for the next EP to drop. Vampires aren't your thing? Don't worry, I got you. This is going to be a part of an occult series where I give you amazing storylines to spice up your game. We just start with vampires. Tell me what you want to know next. What other storylines do you want? Do you want werewolves, mermaids, aliens, spellcasters? Comment them down below and I'll get that sorted for you. So let's dive right into section 1, which is teens, and our storyline for this section is the Teen Vampire Rebellion. We've all heard of vampires living long, immortal lives, bound by strict rules and traditions. But what happens when you're a teenager in a vampire clan and you're just like so over it? You've just turned 16, or whatever the vampire equivalent of 16 is, don't ask me. And while most teens worry about acne, awkward school dances, dates, all that jazz, you've got a whole different set of problems. Come here, you're a vampire, okay? And your parents are the like old and rigidy, strict, stuck in their ways type of vampires, you know what I mean? You come from a long lineage of vampire excellence and your parents expect you to behave accordingly, okay? Now, because of this, you've got a long list of outdated rules that keep you from having fun, from curfew at sunrise to only feed on approved mortals. Life has become stifling, and worst of all, your parents have already picked out a vampire heir for you to marry. Like, what is this? But you're not having it, bruv. You're young, wild, and immortal, and you want to live your vampire life on your terms. So what do? You start a rebellion, of course. You and a group of like-minded vampire teens decide it's time to break free from the old ways and create your own coven. So what you gotta do? You'll need to evade your vampire elders who intend on keeping you and the family traditions intact. Expect them to show up at the worst time, snooping through your lair, trying to drag you back to their world and rules, but you gotta do everything in your power to avoid all of that. You need to recruit and build a coven. You need to find teen vampires who are sick and tired of following these rules and who just want to have fun. You want to take the plasma from any mortal that walks near you without being reprimanded. You want to use all your fun and cool vampire powers to do whatever you want. Strike fear into the hearts of Sims. Live life wild and free. And to do that, you'll need to fight for your freedom. You're not just rebelling against the rules, you're rebelling against centuries of vampire tradition. Prepare to face off against elder vampires who will try to bring you back to the lair by force. Train your coven to protect itself using every power and skill at your disposal. After all, what's a good rebellion without a fight or two, you know what I mean? So, what's the end game? Do you overthrow the vampire establishment and form your own free-spirited vampire society? Or do you realize that with great immortality comes great responsibility, and maybe, just maybe, some rules exist for a reason? Your decisions will shape your future and the future of Vampire Kind. Now, on to section 2 with our young adults, and this storyline is called The Accidental Vampire Cult Leader. Now, for those of you who love chaos and the unexpected, I have got a storyline for you. How about becoming a cult leader by accident? This is a story of the accidental vampire cult leader. The premise: you're a regular, everyday, bottom barrel vampire. Yeah, you ain't got no prospects for your life. You just trying to live your best immortal life. Yeah, you're broke. Yeah, you're low-key homeless. But you know what? You vibing, you thriving, and that's all that really matters. Now, you might be homeless, but your mother dearest has got a sweet vampire lair, a healthy blood supply, and a chill place for you to just kind of exist. But one day, a group of human sims who are obsessed with vampires stumble upon your lair and mistake you for some sort of all-powerful vampire deity. Before you know it, they've started worshipping you, hanging on to your every word, every single thing you say, and spreading your gospel across the land. You didn't ask for this, but hey, maybe there's some fun to be had here. So what you gotta do? You gotta keep up the act. At first you think it's harmless, you're amused by your new followers, get them to do your bidding, get them to give you money and plasma, so you just play along. But soon they start demanding guidance. They're asking for miracles and expecting you to lead them. Can you keep the charade going without being found out that you're just a regular vampire? Now, of course, you've got to build the cult. As more sims spread the word, more sims come to you and want to join your cult. What started as a small group of enthusiasts will soon grow into a full-fledged movement. Now you have to manage their demands, from providing blood offerings to hosting secret rituals, but hey, at least you get free blood, am I right? Oh, also, all these cult members, they fully devote. So now you've got to build a nice big basement under your mother's house without her knowing and sneak all these cult members in, making sure that they're looked after and keeping them well hypnotized. So how are you gonna handle the pressure? With great cult powers comes great culty responsibilities. Some of your followers are getting a little too obsessed. They want to do things like storm the vampire council or overthrow the government in your name. It's getting a little out of hand. Will you rein them in or let the chaos spread? What kind of cult are you cultivating here? Do you lean into the madness and become the feared and revered ruler of a vampire cult? Or do you find a way to disband the group before things spiral out of control? Either way, you'll need to make some tough choices about how far you're willing to take your accidental leadership. And remember, good old Vladdy is not gonna like this happening on his turf, so you may have a mighty vampire battle on your hands, so you better train up and not fake it too much and become that all-powerful vampire. Alright, let's switch the gears for all you romance lovers and let's move on to a more seductive storyline, because section 3 is adult. The eternal bachelor/bachelorette. Imagine living for centuries, charming and seducing countless sims, always keeping them at arm's length. Well, welcome to the life of the eternal bachelor/bachelorette. The premise is simple. You're a vampire who has perfected the art of seduction. Your beauty is timeless, your charm irresistible, and sims fall for you without even knowing what hit them. But there's one catch. You never stay with anyone for too long. When looking for interesting things to do in The Sims, the best thing is to go back to our roots. And what do Simmers love to do? We love to kidnap unsuspecting Sims and lock them in our basement. And that is exactly what you're going to do. Except this is different from the last storyline. This one, you're not a cult leader. You are literally just a kidnapper. These Sims fall in love with you. You woo them. You get them gifts. You make them feel like they're the only one, and when their romance is maxed, that's when you lock them up and use them as your personal plasma bank. But beware, because people are getting suspicious. All these missing Sims, and they all have one thing in common. You've got to be careful. Vampire hunters might be on the lookout, but you don't want to stop. This is your hobby. When you live for centuries, you get bored, and the best entertainment is entertainment that can talk back to you. At least that's what you tell yourself. From kidnapping Sims to getting them to make your money so you can live a lavish vampire life without having to lift a finger, all of this is at your disposal. But one rule: you cannot, and I mean cannot, be with one Sim at one time, because like I said, this is your entertainment. You need to stay entertained throughout the whole thing. You are seeing multiple Sims at once, keeping them all entranced with your charm while maintaining your secret identity as a vampire. They can't find out till the last moment. So no sucking plasma from Sims that aren't locked in your basement. Like I said before, avoid vampire hunters, as if juggling relationships wasn't hard enough, a vampire hunter has arrived in town. They've been investigating the disappearance of Sims, who mysteriously vanished after dating you. Now you've got to maintain the perfect persona whilst keeping your true nature hidden. But who knows, could this vampire hunter be your next victim? But when you get rid of one, could that be a catalyst for something bigger? As they say, there are always bigger fish to fry. But how will this end? Do you settle down with one of your lovers? Vampire hunter. Or do you continue your eternal bachelor/bachelorette lifestyle, always one step ahead of the vampire hunters and the Sims that you seduce? Whatever you choose, the stakes have never been higher, and yes, the pun was intended. And finally, last but not least, section 4, elders, and this story is called The Battle of Succession. You are a powerful and ancient vampire. You've seen it all. You've lived through countless centuries. You've built empires, destroyed them, watched empires be built, watched wars destroy empires. But now you've grown weary. In your old age, you find your powers are beginning to dwindle, and though your life is eternal, it's about time for you to retire. After countless centuries of domination, the time has come to select a worthy successor to continue your dark legacy. However, the choice is far from simple. Over the centuries, you've sired multiple vampires, all eager to take your place. Now they must prove themselves as the true heir to your dark throne. You need to observe and manipulate your potential heirs as they compete to prove their strength, loyalty, and cunning. You must set tasks, challenges, and trials to test their abilities and devotion. You thought you had it all sussed out. You thought you chose the right heir. However, you come to find out the heir you chose was corrupt and betrayed you. Now you must band together with the other heirs who wanted to be and retake your place on top. You need to be strong and cunning. You need to take them down alongside all of their new followers that they have garnered. But remember, you are still in old age. You can't do it like you used to, so you must rely on others even though you really don't want to. Or train yourself up and become the strongest you can be. Do whatever it takes to take back your legacy and make sure it follows through into the right hands. Comment down below which storyline was your favorite, which storyline do you want to try, and what occult do you want me to cover next. Peace.